My middle one that lives here in Chattanooga has always had a lot of suitors coming around and wanting to date her. And she had this one, and he was I wouldn't say an Eddie Haskell, but he was a schmoozer. Like he knew he was a player. Okay, their daddy's not a player. Okay, my husband, he doesn't chat. Like he vacuumed out my car when he was dating me, and he bought my cigarettes, so that's how we started. But anyway, it was the 80s. But anyway, the young people call it playa, some fast-talking boy. She had this fast-talking boy coming around, and he would say to me things like, "Miss Morgan, you look beautiful today." And I was like, "Can I make you a casserole?" Thank goodness they broke up, because I was exhausted. I was mopping the floor and blowing my hair out every day. And I don't do that. Let me tell you why I got played. I thought, why am I so tickled when somebody compliments me? It's because my love language is words of affirmation. Have y'all ever heard of that book, 5 Love Languages? It is wonderful, and it works. It's the real deal. My husband and I went on a Sunday school class retreat when our children were little, and we watched this little frail man talk about it. Okay, and it was on Oprah, so it's real. But anyway, what it is there's 5 love languages, and you get the book, you read the book. Well, I don't read the book. But anyway, you take the test, and it tells you what your prominent love language is out of those 5, and it tells you what your partner's love language is. So then you can go home at night and feed your partner their love language, and they can feed you your love language, and then your love tank feels full. And if you don't do it, then your partner's liable to go to work, and they're at the water fountain, and some whore comes in. And feeds their love language. And then they feel a tingle. And then Satan swoops in. Y'all know where I'm going with that? It's a disaster. So, there's 5 love languages. There's quality time. You just can sit and watch ESPN with somebody, which I don't want to. But you just sit with somebody. Okay, then there's gifts. And you can just give them a card and they feel loved. It doesn't have to be something expensive. Okay, then there's physical touch. And most women in here will go, "Oh my gosh, that's my husband's physical touch. He's on me like a duck on a June bug." But it's not that kind of nasty. I'm talking about, like there's people that just want to hug you and kiss you and squeeze you and they got to hold your hand. That's the physical touch they're talking about. Okay, then there's words of affirmation. That's mine. So all my husband has to say is, "Leanne, you are a good mama. Leanne, that Trisha Yearwood's chicken piccata is to die for." And then my love tank feels full, and then I'm willing to do something vulgar with him. And then he gives me money to get my hair highlighted. So you see how it all works out. So his love language, the 5th one, is acts of service. So I have to go and build a set of shelves in the garage for him to feel loved. That doesn't make sense to me, but anyway. I've had 3 beautiful children that I'm in love with. I have a son who is 14 years old now. I cannot believe it. Thank you. And I have 2 little girls that are 11 and 9. And my baby child is in 4th grade now. I cannot believe it. When she went to kindergarten a few years back, that was going to be the first time that I was going to be by myself all day long from 8 to 3, all by myself. I nearly grieved myself to death. I thought, Lord, what am I going to do with all this time on my hands? I hope I don't get hooked on whiskey and start honky-tonking. About 3 weeks into kindergarten, I was like, it's your birthday, Now I ain't gonna get a pap smear without somebody sitting on my head. I'll never forget the day that I found out about her, and I feel terrible about it now. But I was overwhelmed. I knew something wasn't right. I didn't feel good. I thought, oh my gosh, surely I'm not pregnant this quick, this soon. And you know when you gotta know something, you gotta know it right then. I had to know right then. I grabbed up my 2 babies and diaper bag and all that stuff you take with you everywhere you go, and I went to the Walmart in the foothills of the Appalachian Mountains. And I bought an EPT pregnancy test, and I took it in the stall at Walmart. And I tinkled on it. And my 3-year-old boy looked at me, he said, "What, is it positive?" And it was. So I drove home just as fast as I could, and I called my husband at work. And I said, "You're trying to kill me, aren't you? With a slow vaginal death. Is that what you're trying to?" "Well, you're not going to. You better get home right now, because I'm going to walk out in the woods and let the animals eat me." But let me explain to y'all why I was so torn up. I had a 13-month-old baby girl in diapers and a 3-year-old little boy in Superman panties with doo-doo balls falling out. At the grocery store. I thought, oh my Lord, did anybody see that? I don't have anything in my purse to pick it up with. Is some little child gonna think it's a milk dud? Let's just keep on moving, everybody. Just keep on moving. But God knew better than I did, because she's been a doll baby, but she's ruined. And I know I'm the one who did it. I was tired and beat down. So, anybody here who has more than 2, you know, good night by that 3rd and 4th one, you gotta let them do what they gotta do, you know. She still cries over anything. She cries because she knows she gets her way. I said, "What's she crying about?" "She wants your toy." "Well, just give it to her." "I can't deal with it." But she's a quirky little thing and fun. She is. She enjoys office work. And for Santa Claus this past Christmas, she wanted a filing cabinet. And that's what she wanted. And she likes, you know, big tape dispensers and all that kind of stuff. And in our house, she has offices set up all over our house. And she's always talked to herself. And we like to sneak and watch her, because she'll be doing office work. She has her little Barbie phone or cell phones and old cordless phones, and she'll be calling people up and chewing them out over the phone. She says, "Well, if you can't get this order in, I'm taking my business elsewhere." She says she wants to work for Geico when she gets older. For her 8th birthday, you know how mamas will call you and say, "What's she into? What can I get her?" And I said, "Well, she needs office supplies." My oldest daughter has turned 11, and she's in 6th grade in middle school. And I can tell that puberty is beginning with her. She's crazy. And She's mean as a snake. And we're scared to death of her, but we just tiptoe around her. She cries a lot and she doesn't know why, and she tells us, I don't know why I'm crying. And we just try to get through it. But I'm telling you, she can run a household. She's a grown woman. She has been ever since she got here. So I said, you're gonna have to come in here, baby. I said, your daddy's gonna take care of y'all. I'm going to Nashville for like 3 days. She bust out crying. I said, what's wrong? She said, don't leave us with him. He doesn't know where the food is. I said, well, that's why you're in charge. And she is. God love her. But my girls are emotional, and I don't mean to talk about them because I love them, and I know they'll visit me in the nursing home. But they are lunatics. My husband says they're psycho, and they need therapy. And I'll give you all an example. I can be in the pickup line at school, and this happened when they were in first grade, and it happens every day when I pick them up at school now. I'm sitting in the pickup line, and I can see them come out, and they are in a good mood. And they're goosing each other and giggling and doing and talking and having a good time. They're waving to the teachers and the principal. See you tomorrow. Okay. Then they come over to my vehicle. Get in. Shut the door. My 11-year-old take her backpack and sling it and hit me in the back of the head with it. Every day she says something like this. I'm starving to death. You don't have a piece of cheese in this car? Your driving's making me car sick. I hate her. Why'd you have her? And then my baby will be sitting up there in a daze. She'll be going, Mama, 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 Mama. What? Mama, Mama. Mom, what? I'm listening. She asked me some of the craziest things. One day she said to me, did Jesus ever have head lice? How do you answer something like that? I said, well, baby, if he did, I know he healed it. And then my girls would be whipping each other in the back seat and telling each other how bad they hate each other and they wished each other were dead. And then my sweet boy will come out. He'll get in and he'll say, you know, they're building a new Home Depot up on 281. Just as happy-go-lucky. He's just like this. He's been like that all of his life. He's 14. He's never sassed me. I know people say it's coming. I'm telling you, I don't think it will. And I'm in love with him. My husband says I have an unhealthy obsession with him. Whatever. And he's the only one of all my family that doesn't give me any crap. So yes, I am in love with him, and that doll, we want the best for him, and we want the best for these children. We want them to be involved in sports. You know, keep them off of dope. But I wanted to tell y'all that my new obsession, what I've gotten obsessed over, because I love sports, I love football, is I've been watching quarterbacks on Netflix. And if y'all have not seen that, y'all got to watch it. They follow 3 quarterbacks, and it's precious Kirk Cousins that loves the Lord. And he is so sweet. And then it's that little Mariota man who is beautiful, and his wife, and he loves his baby, and he's yummy and sweet. And then Patrick Mahomes, honey, Patrick Mahomes. And if you watch that, I'm telling y'all, if y'all watch it, y'all will fall in love with that little thing and you'll be worried to death about him. Okay. He is the age of my children. I could have birthed him. And I feel like I should have. And I would tend to him. I'm worried sick. All right, that little thing. I was in Denver, Colorado, doing a show the night that the Denver Broncos beat the Kansas City Chiefs, and little Patrick Mahomes had the flu and still played, and they had to give that little thing a bag of fluids. And then he went out there and played in that snow. Okay, if you watch him in that quarterback's thing, oh my Lord, he did something to one of his feet. It was a fracture or a sprain or something, and he kept saying, "I'm good, dog, I'm good. I'm good, dog." And they were like, "You don't have to play." He was like, I'm good, dog." And that little thing hopped on one foot and played a whole game and threw that ball from up and flicked it and did it. And I have never seen anything in my life. I'm worried about him because everybody around him, his family, if y'all not gotten into this, y'all need to do a deep dive into this bunch of yahoos. Honey, you talking about some yahoos. Okay. He's got a brother named Jackson who's a TikTok star. On the sideline, while everybody else is working, like, you know, dogs trying to win a football game, he's on the TikTok doing. And then Patrick Mahomes has got a mama who is still wearing a bikini. Good for her. Good for her. And then he's got a little wife that he met in 8th grade. That little thing's been dating her since 8th grade, and it's really sweet. And in this series on Netflix, he loves her, and he wants to be a good daddy and a good husband, and he loves the Lord. He's got faith. And that little thing's working and doing in an ice bath, and they're rubbing him down, and everybody's beat on him in every game, and he says, "I'm all right, dog, I'm all right." And then his wife, Brittany, needs attention, but who doesn't? Who doesn't need attention? And if I were a child like she is, and somebody gave me $90 million, I'd act a fool too. You know, I would. I acted a fool when I was her age and I didn't have 10 cents. All right. And you'll see on this series, like they're working on him and he's playing with one foot and doing and barely hanging on and holding up everybody around him. And she is wanting to take selfies. And she's like, "Come over here, take this selfie." And doing that, and he's hopping over, taking a picture. And then, if y'all didn't know this, which I'm sure you have heard this, Kelsey and Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift is running the United States of America. And now she's going to the bowl games, and you know what? Her uterus is aching. I know it is. Her uterus is aching, and she wants a baby. She wants a baby, and it's time for her to want a baby, and she wants to breed with that big old Kelsey boy. Of course she does. Of course she does. They're both tall. I mean, I could see it. And then little Taylor Swift looks like she's got a sweet spirit. And you can tell that she's worried about little Brittany Mahomes needing attention. So ESPN had them in the box, and you could see Taylor holding her hands and singing with her and dancing with her, and had a look on her face like, I better do this or she's gonna burn this thing down. But don't y'all know that Taylor Swift looks at that big old Kelsey boy's mama and thinks, look at her, she's got on a sensible shoe. She's got on a sensible shoe and a nice jean, a high waist with some stretch. And don't you know that Taylor Swift is thinking, I know that little doll put in a pot roast in the crock pot before she came to this NFL football game so that they would have something to eat when this thing was over. And you know that his mama browned that roast in a skillet with flour. I know. Of course she wants to have a baby with him and his people. Anyway, thanks for letting me go off on that rant. It's just been on my mind. I'm worried sick. Thank y'all. I'm worried. My baby child is so different than the other two because I was so tired. By the time I got around to her, I was beat down. I was tired. And I let her do whatever she wanted to. And I've heard old women say 4, 5, and 6 raise themselves. I bet they do. I bet they do. Because I've let her do whatever she wanted to. I was so on top of my game with those first two. I was like flashcards. You're going to make 100 on that spelling test. And I was up in school, I was room mom, and I was taking yogurt and muffins, and I was all up in everything. That third one came along, and I was like, can she read? Let me tell y'all that my people are down in Middle Tennessee. I told y'all farming people, and I was raised old-timey Methodist. And my people are kind of superstitious, and there was like no gambling. You could play rook. There was no alcohol in our house, never had alcohol until we were trying to get her married off. And she married this hoop-de-doo man that owned part of a winery, and so we all started drinking. And my little mama had never had alcohol, and she drank a glass of wine and got out of my car, and she goes, I can't feel my arms. But there was no cussing in my family. They didn't want any ugly language, so I brought that into my marriage, and my husband's people say ugly words. So I said to him, we're not going to have any cussing in this house, and I said to these children, I go, nobody's going to say anything ugly. You can't even say stupid. You can't call anybody stupid. You can't say but. If you do, you're going to be in deep doo-doo. And they listened to me. Those first two did exactly like I told them. Well, that baby came along, and it started out with spell cussing. She'd come in a room and say, what the H? And then it went on to, what's up, mofos? My husband's name is Chuck. She go, Chuck, you a-hole. And my husband gets so tickled and just gets so, and he'd go, oh my, you nut. And my oldest two would be like, what? She just said what? I know, we let her do whatever. All right, y'all. Because we are taping this. I'm trying to get in different material, and I'm trying to do new, and I'm out of my mind because I'm in brain fog. So y'all, bear with me. I'm trying to switch it back and forth. Okay, I got to tell y'all that with me and my husband being just me and him, we probably need to go to a retreat and learn how to communicate again. He traveled. He's always had a big job. He's an executive with a big company and stayed gone, and we wanted him to. I'd be like, your daddy's coming home. Clean up your room. Clean up your room. Everybody, dude. I mean, we had a ball when he was gone, honey. My husband, smart in math. Anal retentive, type A, hunter and a gatherer, you know, can kick a door in. I like that. Very, very introverted, very quiet, but very, very smart. And Is that Alexis? Are we boarding a plane? It sounds like we're boarding a plane. Is something taking off? If it is, we need to all wash our hands. What was I saying? Oh, my husband. Okay. So he has always been like he worked for Burger King when he was 14. They gave him a key. So, and he was getting an MBA at UT when I met him, and he's a little bit younger than me, and he'd already been out 4 years, worked, and then went back to get an MBA. I was just finishing up my undergraduate because I'm fun. So it has been a tumultuous, because if y'all saw my purse, y'all be like, her life is out of control. And he is just like that. But anyway, now it's just me and him. And if I could give you young people any advice, I know you hadn't asked me for it, but you need to go on date nights, and you need to nurture that. And I know everybody's driving in a car, and everybody's fighting, and everybody's got something in a crock pot, but you need to do that with your husband, because one day it's just going to be you and him, and you're going to look at him and go, who are you? And what do you want from me? So I try to do fun things, and people say to me all the time, they go, do you let your husband travel with you? And I say, no. The main thing is he's got to keep working. We need health insurance, you know? Everybody's getting their eyebrows waxed. We need to keep this going. We want him to work as long as he can. The other reason is he loves a hotel. You know, men love a hotel. And I gotta work. I gotta put on makeup and get on Spanx. And so I'll take him to a hotel, and he gets a glazed look over his eyes. And I find myself doing this. And it doesn't have to be a nice hotel. It could be a Scottish Inn. And there could be a bloody spot on the carpet where there's been a murder. It wouldn't bother him. But anyway, I don't let him do that. So around Knoxville, I try to do things for me and him to do together. And I bought him tickets to go see Def Leppard and Journey. Oh, y'all. Going to a concert is very different when you're 54. I went to school at UT, and I used to go to all the concerts. I saw Tina Turner, John Cougar Mellencamp, Rod Stewart, I don't know where I got the money. But in the 80s, honey, I went. Nick, I was so cute. I had on little bitty britches. My thyroid was functioning. I didn't care about food. I'd eat a half a can of tuna, and I'd be like, I'm full. But anyway, so I got us tickets, and my husband, I thought, we're going to have a date night. And he goes, I can't get there in time to go out to eat. I'll meet you at the concert. So he had bought a tall boy and an egg salad sandwich at the gas station. I know, I had to smell that all night. So anyway, I was hungry, and everybody at that concert was my age or older. And everybody's worried about the snack bar. And I was too. Journey was already on stage. Nobody cared. Everybody was at the snack bar. But anyway, Little Journey, we all go to watch Little Journey. Journey does not have Little Steve Perry anymore because he had to get a hip replacement. So And I loved him. They've hired this little bitty man who is yummy, and he's taking care of himself, and he's got little bitty breeches on, and he hadn't eaten white flour and sugar, and I don't think he's done dope, and I don't think he's slept with nasty women. So he's hopping and doing and squatting and doing, and all the old boys in the back look sick and bloated, and they're going. But anyway, they were good, and we watched them. Then little Def Leppard came out. Have y'all seen Def Leppard? Still could sing like nobody's business. But that little man came out. Oh, that little man came out. And his little hair was down to here, and you could see through it. And I took one look at him, and I thought, thyroid. Because I've got it too. My hair's thinning too. And that little bitty thing's legs were that big. I've never seen legs that tiny on a man. Frail. And he propped it up on a little... And he'd do... And then I noticed there was a hump right here, and I thought, what's that hump? Oh, hernia. He's got a hernia. And I know because I've had one, and he hadn't had time to get a mesh put in it. I've got a mesh. Anyway, he started singing, "Put Some Sugar on It." And my very quiet, introverted husband stood up and then sat back down. We had a ball. They were wonderful. And then we walked out of Thompson Bowling Arena, and everybody was walking like this. Because everybody's got plantar fasciitis. I've had it. Yeah. Inflammation in our feet. Y'all know what causes that? White flour and sugar. Let me tell y'all, about 2 months after that, I got us tickets in Nashville to go see Hart and Joan Jett. I know. Little Joan Jett. It was probably about 100 degrees, and it was outside, and it was hot and sweaty and humid. Little Joan Jett comes out in leather. And let me tell y'all, she's the size of this glass. Joan Jett. But she rocked it, and she has filler, a lot of filler, and it looks good. It looks good. And I've never wanted it until now. And I think, should I get my lips plumped up? Because what happened to my lips? My lips just sucked up into my body. I used to have lips. Anyway, so she came out. She was wonderful. And then Nancy and Sweet Ann and Nancy came out, the sisters, Hart. Ann's the oldest one, you know, the dark-headed one. She came out in a big pair of orthopedic tennis shoes. That's how she looked. You could tell she was hot and it felt good. And she was pissed. And she had on a long-sleeve dress. And I get it. I don't want to show my arms either. She had on a long-sleeve dress. It was 100 degrees in Nashville at night. Humid, sweaty. She had on pantyhose with those big orthopedic, I know. And I thought, what in the world? And then I thought, compression. She's got on compression hose. But she sang like a bird. And then Nancy, sweet Nancy's doing okay. You know, Nancy's a little bit younger. She can still jump. But they were wonderful. Anyway, we tried to do stuff like that. And I've told him, I said, we need to build intimacy. And not your kind of intimacy. Because he, you know, everything just means grabbing my breast. And even if he hasn't spoken to me that day. And I said, I need you to speak to me. And I need you to listen to me. And I need to be able to share with you things. And then the nasty stuff can happen if you listen to me. But he goes, what do you want to tell me? And I said, I got to tell you, something's going on with my bladder. He said, I don't want to know. I don't want to know. And I thought, that's odd, because I've had your children. And I went through a lot, you know. I had 3 babies 2 different ways. And that first baby was an emergency C-section, and I remember being in the operating room and scared and young, and my husband looked at me, he was sitting there watching it, and he said, oh my gosh, they've taken your uterus out and set it on your chest. And I was like, he said, it looks like a Cornish hen. All my children are yummy, and I'm in love with them, and I love my girls, and I know that when I'm in the nursing home, they'll be the ones to come and pluck my chin hairs. Because he is now since married and gone off with his wife and her people. And that's what boys do. They cling to their wife. That's biblical. He said to me, Mom, she is now my immediate family. You are my extended. That's what he said to me right before they got married. And he said, Mom, that's biblical. I'm supposed to cling to my wife. And I thought, why did I show him the Bible? Well, he has always been spiritually mature. We call him our little Billy Graham. My husband and I, we didn't do it. God did it. I'm full of sin. Okay. I've been washed in the blood, but I've been a horrible, horrible person. Not too bad, but okay. So this baby has been just like an old man all of his life. Let me give you an example. He had a little girlfriend in high school, and he would go over to her house and they'd watch movies. And he came home one night and he used to tell me everything. And I said, what y'all been doing? He said, well, we've been watching television and kissing on the couch. And I said, okay, baby, okay. That's all right, that's normal. But I said, you know, before you know it, you've got your hand on somebody's leg, your arm around, and you know, things can get out of control. And I just say, slow it down. He looked at me like I was crazy. And he said, Mom, I've prayed about this. Nothing like that's gonna happen. And I know he meant that. And all I could think of to myself was some of the nastiest things I ever did. Was at the Adams United Methodist Youth Fellowship on a hayride. I don't know what it was about hay that set me on fire. I wish it did now, because I could get a new purse out of that. Okay, y'all, have you ever heard of lock-in? I know everybody in here that has been from Chattanooga has probably been raised in church. Okay, I don't know who that little darling, sweet fool was that came up with the lock-in. Some probably little woman in a committee meeting. And she probably said, oh gosh, y'all, let's come up with something for all the hormonal teenagers. Let's gather them up and put them in the church building and lock the door and turn the lights out and leave them there all night. Maybe somebody will end up pregnant. Bathing suit season, Lord. I've always worn a miracle suit, and I'll talk about that in just a minute, but I did a show for a group here in Knoxville. They were darling. And after I did it, a woman came up to me and she goes, Leanne, are you not going to Sears and buying you a swim dress? And I thought, well, I didn't know my life was over. So she said, you need to go to Sears or order it online with Land's End. And it's a swim dress. She goes, you're gonna love it, I promise you. Okay, so I go to Sears at West Town Mall. When's the last time any of y'all went to Sears at West Town Mall? There's not a soul in the West Town Mall Sears. They've got the lights on. There's nobody working. There's nobody there shopping. I swear I think they're running dope out of Sears. But I got me a swim dress, and I am beautiful in it. And I tell you why, because it shows my arms. My arms, the only thing I've got left living for. And they are my daddy's. Jimmy Fletcher, I got them from him. My sister gets so mad because she didn't get them, and she'll call me and say, "You got daddy's arms," and just hang up on me. But this swim dress, okay, it cinches up through here, so it's real flattering right there. And then it comes down and hides all this boogity-boo I got going on right here. And I am beautiful in it. I hate to say that. It kind of looks like Titanic, but for years I wore a miracle suit. Okay, the miracle suit is in Dillard's and Bell, Macy's, are all over. And there'll be hundreds of them in a big area at a department store. And there's a tag hanging from all of them that says, "Miracle Suit. Lose 10 pounds in 10 minutes. And you do, because you sweat yourself to death trying to get it on. Because the Miracle Suit has a girdle in it. They're one piece. So the girdle is right through here, so it smooths you out real pretty through here. You look really good because it squeezes your fat out in all the other directions, all the other holes. And I would buy it because I felt desperate and I didn't know what else to do. And I didn't feel pretty in them, and then I'd buy a sarong and wrap it around my whole body, and then sit under an umbrella and act like I was reading. But I bought them every year. I had them all the time, and I look back in videos from vacations, and I've got them on, and it's awful. Okay, so my girlfriend, the one with poop, you remember her? Okay, she found out that I had one. She was like, "Oh my gosh, I want one." So she drove down from Greenville, Tennessee, and they went to the Dillards. And she brought her 14-year-old daughter with her, and they got in the dressing room at Dillard's, and the 14-year-old was sacking her mama up in this bathing suit. And her 14-year-old said, "Mom, this is so gross." "Put it back, let's get out of here." She said, "I can't, I've got to buy it, I just peed in it." My oldest daughter has turned 11, and she's in 6th grade in middle school. And I can tell that puberty is beginning with her. She's crazy. And she's mean as a snake. And we're scared to death of her, but we just tiptoe around her. She cries a lot, and she doesn't know why, and she tells us, "I don't know why I'm crying." And we just try to get through it. But I'm telling you, she can run a household. She's a grown woman. She has been ever since she got here. So I said, "You're going to have to come in here, baby." I said, "Your daddy's going to take care of y'all. I'm going to Nashville for like 3 days." She bust out crying. I said, "What's wrong?" She said, "Don't leave us with him. He doesn't know where the food is." I said, "Well, that's why you're in charge." And she is. God love her. But my girls are emotional, and I don't mean to talk about them because I love them, and I know they'll visit me in the nursing home. But they are lunatics. My husband says they're psycho, and they need therapy. And I'll give you all an example. I can be in the pickup line at school, and this has happened when they were in first grade, and it happens every day when I pick them up at school now. I'm sitting in the pickup line, and I can see them come out, and they are in a good mood. And they're goosing each other and giggling and doing and talking and having a good time. They're waving to the teachers and the principal. See you tomorrow. Okay. Then they come over to my vehicle. Get in. Shut the door. My 11-year-old take her backpack and sling it and hit me in the back of the head with it. Every day she says something like this. I'm starving to death. You don't have a piece of cheese in this car? Your driving's making me car sick. I hate her. Why'd you have her? And then my baby will be sitting up there in a daze. She'll be going, Mama, 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 Mama. What? Mama, Mama, Mama. What? I'm listening. She asked me some of the craziest things. One day she said to me, did Jesus ever have head lice? How do you answer something like that? I said, well, baby, if he did, I know he healed it. And then my girls would be whipping each other in the back seat and telling each other how bad they hate each other and they wished each other were dead. And then my sweet boy will come out. He'll get in and he'll say, you know, they're building a new Home Depot up on 281. I was thin and I had eyebrows. And my husband was so tickled with me that he bought me presents for no reason, no special occasion. I guess you boys know what he was after. He got it. So now, and that was sinful. It was the 80s. So I had a bunch of kids by him and married him, had a bunch of kids, and then now, Lord, we've been married, it'll be 28 years in April. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, y'all. I truly believe that he would not pull me out of a burning vehicle. I've had a big week. I've been in Portland, Oregon this week. Yeah, and they're so weird. The little guy that introduced me did not identify as human. And so he had to introduce me as a wife and mother, and that was hard. But anyway, I've been in Portland, and then I was in Tampa last night. I know, and they were darling. And then I go to Orlando tomorrow night, and then I go home. But anyway, I hope that I can remember what I'm saying, because I've been going and working a lot, and I am in full menopause. I do a podcast called Sweaty and Pissed. Thank you. Thank you, Sweaty and Pissed, Menopause and more. So for instance, Nick, one of the episodes is called Vaginal Dryness. And vaginal dryness and pinto beans. So my nurse practitioner, I do it with her, and she's brilliant. So she talks about the medical part, and I talk about pinto beans. But anyway, she just did my annual, and I'm 54 years old, and she said, Leanne, you got to take that IUD out. It's time. You're old and crusty. And You don't need it anymore. And it hurt my feelings. Because I always thought I'd be able to have children as long as I lived, which was crazy because I'm 54, I'd leave a baby at Target by accident. But anyway, she put on a big headlamp, went in and got it, and then let me borrow it later for a hike. But let me tell y'all, my husband never had a vasectomy, and he said, I'm not going to get one, Leanne, because what if something happens to you? I know, and I need to marry a young woman, and she wants children, and I said, bless her heart. I'll pray for her. Please don't put a tight budget on her like you have me. Okay. My husband and I are empty nesters. These children walked off and left me with their daddy, and he is so not fun. Because he's got to make a living. He's got to make a living, and all that money going out. Everybody's getting their eyebrows waxed and stuff like that. So, and you know, kids walk out of a room, they don't turn the lights out when they leave, and that makes a man a butthole. But it's just me and him, and we've got 2 Beagles that we are in love with, and we just sit and kiss them in the mouth, and because we miss these kids so bad, and we let them sleep in the bed with us, these dogs, and they're nasty. He looks smart. Do you do math? I know it, honey. I get it. I dig it. Okay, so I didn't mean to get off on that tangent. Okay, so we get in the bed. We've got 2 Beagles. The oldest one is from Ogden, Utah. My husband got him on a business trip and flew out there on a company plane, and the plane needed to be worked on, and so he went to a parking lot and called me and said, there's a man in a parking lot with a box full of Beagles, puppies, and I want one of them. And I said, this isn't a good time for me. And he said, it'll be fine, and hung up the phone. But that Beagle has been yummy, and he's now 12 years old. He's a little old man, white in the face. I know he's yummy, and my husband worships him. So we get in the bed, and my husband pulls him up to him and spoons him in the bed. And that old Beagle looks at me like, I don't want him. I want you. And I say, hold on. And when my husband drifts off to sleep, then that old Beagle scooches over and gets in the crook of my legs. All right, and he's a hot, hairy Beagle. I'm in full menopause. So menopause, for y'all that are not haven't gone through it yet, you feel like you're being microwaved from within. And it comes out the top of your head. And it's really bad at night. It's covers off, covers on, covers off, covers on. It makes you bitter. Okay, so anyway, he scooches over and gets in the crook of my leg. So I end up on a king-size bed, about this much room. Then the little Beagle, who's a pocket Beagle named Gigi, who is yummy, she gets in the bed, turns around several times, backs her little butthole up against my face. And I don't care because I love her. And I just want to sleep, and it's not going to happen. Because when you're in menopause, you don't sleep. And I don't want to get hooked on dope. So I take melatonin, passion flower, GABA, L-theanine, Valerian root, and pray to the dear Lord that I can fall asleep. And just when I get in a deep REM, my husband, about 2 o'clock in the morning, I don't know what happens, but he jostles awake, reaches over, and grabs one of my breasts. And it puts me into a blind rage. You boys need that. And that's the way God made y'all. And when I get to heaven, I'm going to ask him about it. That's how y'all show love. But I say to my husband, I know you want to do it. And I'll do it. I'll do it. But can we do it before 10 o'clock? When I know my name. And I know your name. But I waller in the bed all night. I waller. Do y'all know anybody from Tennessee? Do I need an interpreter? Oh, okay. We say words like waller. We waller dogs and waller babies, and I'm wallering in the bed all night. And then I get up the next morning, and I think, oh, I'm going to clean out a closet. I hadn't slept one bit. This Fitbit says to me, you hadn't slept, girl. Okay, so I go to clean out a closet, and I end up in the driveway, and I don't even know how I got there. Let me tell you boys up here in Naples, y'all, I saw these fancy cars out here. My husband is very, very tight with money. Let me tell y'all that I'm driving a 2009 white Honda Pilot that's got 235,000 miles on it. Last year, lights started coming on saying, get out, Leanne. My husband drives a Tahoe, and the T and A is gone. He is very tight and has been saving for our retirement since he was 26 years old. I know. I hope I can live to enjoy it. But he doesn't like to spend money. So anyway, I need to get a new car, and I've been looking out here in this parking lot. If God forbid something happened to him, I'd go on Weight Watchers and come down here. Even though, Lord, me and my best friend, we've talked about it because I'm 54, she's 55, and we've talked about, Lord, what if we had to get a man? What if we had to get out here and date? I mean, it would cost me $1,000 just for the grooming. I've got something wrong with this toe. Toenail. I need to be on Lamisil. It's thick. Oh, if I had to get out here. She loves her husband, but she said, oh, well, if I had to, I guess I could show somebody my left breast. She said, it looks okay. Oh, y'all, all right, let me tell y'all that I've got 3 children I'm in love with, and I wanted more. And I told their daddy I want a 4th baby, and he said, y'all are sucking the financial life out of me. So he bought me a dachshund. We were living down in Texas, and she was a doll baby, and she lived to be a little old woman, and she had thyroid issues, and so did I. And so we had to get on thyroid medication at the same time, and we both gained a lot of weight. And I was walking her in our neighborhood, and a little girl came out and said, can I pet your groundhog? But anyway, all right. The 3 children I did get to have been a blessing, and I'm in love with them. I've got a boy and 2 girls. And my boy has been so much easier to raise. Who do you think's easier to raise, boys or girls? Just yell it out. Boys. Every once in a while, there'll be a frail little woman yell out, girl. But I think she's being threatened. No, I love my girls. I love my girls. And I know that when I'm in the nursing home, they'll be the ones to come and pluck my chin hairs. But my boy has been so easy. And I got to tell y'all, I think firstborn, they are, they want to please you and that kind of thing. But he was born an old man. Have you known anybody that was born an old soul? He was born an 80-year-old man. He has had a garden since he was in 6th grade. He cans his own food. I know. Yummy. I know. Woodworks. Makes his own spoons. I know. He wanted to learn how to play the banjo and the mountain dulcimer and the mandolin when he was in middle school with khaki breeches on. Okay, that angel from heaven. So we call him our little Billy Graham. He's been very spiritually mature. I did not do it. My husband didn't do it. We're full of sin. But we've been washed in the blood. But anyway, so my boy has loved gospel bluegrass. His favorite artist is Dr. Ralph Stanley. Little Dr. Ralph Stanley's no longer with us, but he lived to be in his 90s, and he was the godfather of Mountain Soul. And he came to Knoxville to the Bijou Theater, and I took my boy, he was about 15, and little Dr. Ralph, they propped him up on stage. Had a little cowboy hat propped up on his head. Almost threw my panties at him. Because that's what you do at Tom Jones. But anyway, I was sitting there listening to Dr. Ralph sing a song about a robin laid an egg on Daddy's grave. And I thought, how many teenagers are listening to this? What are teenagers listening to? Walk a Flock of Flame? I thought, wouldn't it be funny if I had to yell at my boy, turn that bluegrass down. If I hear I Saw the Light one more time. Let me tell you about my family. I have my husband. We live in Knoxville, Tennessee. I have my husband. Thank you. Well, I have my husband and my 3 grown children. I have a 25-year-old boy that's married to a darling little girl. And then I have my 22-year-old daughter and then my 20-year-old daughter, and she's still in Knoxville with us. And so these children grew up and left me with their daddy. And he is so not fun. And so he doesn't chat. And so I'm just at home talking to myself. And we've got 2 Beagles, and we miss these children so bad that we just sit and kiss them in the mouth. So I'm trying to adjust to just being with their daddy, and so I bought him tickets to go see Def Leppard and Journey. Okay, let me tell you. Have y'all been to concerts lately with old people that are older than I am? Okay, we went, and I thought, oh, we're going to have a fun date. And I said, where are we going to go out to eat? And he goes, I don't have time for that. It was on a weeknight, so he went to the Pilot and bought himself a tall boy. And I think that's what it's called, and an egg salad sandwich from the Pilot. And so I didn't get to eat, and I was so hungry. And it dawned on me at a concert. You know, when I was 20 and I'd go to a concert, I was at University of Tennessee, and so I'd go to Thompson Bowling. And I'd wear a crop top. And I didn't care about eating. I wasn't hungry, you know. I was thinking what boys were going to be there, and I had on little bitty breeches. Because I still had a metabolism and my thyroid was acting right. Okay. So we go to Def Leppard and Journey, and everybody there is our age. And everybody's worried about the snack bar, first of all. And I was too. And I was so hungry, and I noticed that people had big Diet Cokes, like big buckets of Diet Coke, and were sucking on those big buckets of Diet Coke while the concert was going on. And every once in a while, somebody would stand up and then they'd sit back down. Journey has a little bitty feller from another country singing for them, and he's yummy. He looks like a little M&M. You could put him in your pocket. And you can tell he doesn't eat white flour and sugar. And he's singing and doing his sounds like Steve Perry, but it's not the same. You know, Steve Perry's my boo. So it was like we were going to a tribute concert. But anyway, everybody in the band, besides this little fella, everybody had eaten white flour and sugar, and probably had done dope and drank terrible things, and everybody looked sick, and the bass player looked like somebody I had bought my jewelry from for years, and they were just barely a-going. And then Def Leppard came out, and it was that lead singer, I think, has got thyroid issues. His hair was just thin and didn't have a lux to it, and then I noticed he had little bitty tiny legs and a little pot belly stomach. But he sang "Put Some Sugar on It," which I hate that mess. I am a Earth, Wind and Fire R&B gal, and I love my Journey, but I was like, this isn't my thing. And my husband every once in a while would go, and then just sit down, because he loves it. But anyway, this little man with the tiny little legs and the thinning hair, and then he had this little bump right here, and I could tell that's a hernia. He's got a hernia. That he hadn't had time to get it fixed. He hadn't had time to put a mesh in. And you can just see it. It looks like my stomach, because I've had a hernia, but I've had mine fixed. And I thought, oh, bless his heart. But he'd do, and he'd prop a little thin, frail leg up on something. Oh, I thought, isn't it funny how things have changed since I went to concerts when I was 20? Everybody was walking out like this because everybody had inflammation in their feet. Trying to get to their car. And it was like 10 o'clock. I thought, what are we doing out here? What are we doing? We gotta get home. We gotta get in the bed. I also wanted to not wear my glasses, and I love my glasses, and I think I look cute in my glasses, but when I'm on stage like this, they look very filthy through them, and I can't see people. And so I have now mastered contacts, but for years, it took me years to do that. And my precious, yummy doctor is out in Farragut, and his name is Dr. Charles Shield, the senior. The little yummy thing is in his 80s. He's about this tall. He wears, it looks like homemade blue jeans. I know they're not, but... And he wears them up under his little armpits. And he's so yummy. And he loves Cheesecake Factory. And he loves mango, cheesecake. I could eat his lips off. Okay, so I go in there and he goes, Leanne, you're going to have power on top and reading on the bottom, because I'm 51. And so I was like, okay, but I want some contacts because I want to, be hip and be able to wear. So that little thing straddled me for 30 minutes. We wallered each other and wallered each other. I thought, are we going to have to get married? And he said, I can't do it, Leanne. You keep shutting your eyelid, and I can't get in there to your eyeball. And you would think that I could touch my own eyeball. I mean, I've had 3 children 2 different ways. I've been through some crap, so you'd think that I could touch my own eyeball. So I go home, and my husband used to wear them, but he had LASIK, and he said, I'll put those contacts in your eyeballs. And I thought, if he touches my eyeball, he'll want to touch something else. And I am so tired. And so So my middle one, who's at the University of Tennessee, okay, she wears them. And so she has been helping me get them in now for the past couple of years and has to take them out for me, and we have to meet halfway. And she'll say, I've got a paper due. And I'll say, I'm so sorry, but I'm paying for everything. So, could you meet me at a gas station? She literally has met me in the bathroom, in a public bathroom, and like leaned me over the toilet and had to get them out. Okay, we went to Florida. And I wanted to be able to wear contacts. I didn't want to be on the beach and like wear my readers and then, my glasses and look like a jeweler and then, my sunglasses. So I put contacts in. We were in this outdoor thing, like shopping thing, where I was buying her something. I was actually buying her something. And I said, something doesn't feel right. This is hurting so bad. And she went, oh, Mom, you've got 2 in your right eye. And she went and just grabbed it out of my eye. And she's like, what do you want me to do with it? Oh, gosh, let me tell y'all about my third baby, my baby child. She just finished her first year at Sanford in Birmingham, Alabama, and we begged her not to leave us. She is so yummy, and she smells good, and she's funny, and so her daddy and I begged her to go to Phoenix Online. Because she is so fun, and she said, please get out of my butthole and quit staring at me. I'm leaving. So it's been so sad without her, but she's back home now. And but let me tell you about that baby, honey. So funny and so darling. But different from the other 2. You know why? Because by the time she got here, I was beat down. I was so beat down. So tired. And just had given up. And their daddy, very successful, traveling around with Clayton Homes. And I know he's with Clayton Homes, we have dental. And so this baby, let me tell y'all about her. I have treated her different from all the other ones, honey, because, all right, everything that she'd do, like she'd start crying when she's a baby, because babies, the 3rd, 4th, and 5th, they cry, and you just let them. And I'd be like, what's she crying about? She wants your toy? Well, just give it to her. I can't deal with it. I remember saying one time, you want those knives to play with? Okay. What? Okay. When she was at getting her driver's license, so different from when the first one got his. Honey, he got his, and we were so strict with him. We'd say, you can go to school, but you got to call us when you get there. You can only come home. And then after 6 months, we were like, you can go to Steak and Shake. And then you got to come home. So strict. Then the second one didn't care anything about driving, really didn't start till she was close to 17. Well, this baby wanted hers the day she turned 16. I didn't think she was going to pass it because she doesn't care. But she did because she's smart. All right, let me tell you, she's one of those kids that, I know y'all know people like this. Like if I gave her $20 and said, make it to New York tonight, she would do it and have money left over. Like she's, people like that, like got it up. Okay, so she passed that test. I was so mad because I thought, I'm not going to have a baby in the car with me anymore, even though when they're in middle school and high school, isn't that aggravating? when they turn that radio up and it's blasting and I don't like that song and booming and a-doing. And then I'm trying to drive and I feel like when I can't hear, I can't see. Oh, I don't know. It's awful. But she went and got that darn driver's license, and this is how different it was raising her from the first one and the second one. She got that driver's license. My husband and I were sitting there at night, and he said, "Where is she?" And I said, "I don't know." And he said, "Does she have any money?" And I said, "I don't know." Nobody ever said another word. I praise God that Weight Watchers doesn't have a limit on how many times you can join. Because I've done Weight Watchers 9 times. And I've lost 7 pounds in all. It's because I don't follow it. And I know it works. I really do. I know it works, but I go more for the comedy at the meetings. I don't know if y'all have ever been to a Weight Watchers meeting, but it is so funny. Okay, like everybody comes up with recipes. Like the other day, we were there, and a woman goes, "Okay, if you put a teaspoon of cocoa and an egg white and put a dollop of water in it and pray over it and put it in the microwave, you've got chocolate cake." And we've all got our iPhone out and trying to film her. And then somebody will get up and they'll go, "Oh my gosh, y'all, there's fat-free chocolate mint ice cream, but you can only find it at the Harriman Walmart." And people start throwing chairs and like running in a panic. This is what I figured out about myself. Okay, I eat, and I think it's because I'm from sweet country farming people. We value our children and what we've grown to eat and what we've killed. So my people use food for everything. If you're happy, if you're sad, if whatever. I mean, a celebration, woo, okay. And I know I've done that, and I know that I eat emotionally, but I never wanted to ride around in a minivan on dope or alcohol with little children in the car. I didn't want to drink whiskey, so my kids would get to fighting, and my husband would say something hateful like, "What have you done all day?" And that would make me so mad, and I'd eat a hot dog, and I didn't even know what happened. But Weight Watchers has a point system. So say you get like 23 points out of the day, and you got to go within those points, and they'll say, "Fruits and vegetables are free." You don't want fruits and vegetables. When you first start, you're so hungry that you could eat the wallpaper off the wall. A chicken breast is 3 points. A Snicker bar is 12 points. That's what you want. I've been known to be in the closet turning a lamp on and off, eating a sleeve of Chips Ahoy cookies. But I try to stay within my points. All right, my sister will go on it every time I will, and she lives in Clarksville, Tennessee, and she'll call me and she'll say, "It's noon and I've eaten all my points." Okay, let me tell y'all that my middle child is 23 now, and she's the only one that checks on me. She called me a few minutes ago and said, "Did you get to Naples all right?" And I said, "Yeah, baby. Thank you for asking. Tell your daddy." She is a beauty, and she is smart and hateful. And we've been scared to death of her all of her life. And it really got bad when she was about 16 or 17. Have any of y'all been through that? We walked on eggshells around her. She'd come down the steps in the morning, we'd be like, "Who is it?" "I don't know." And it happened when she was about 16 or 17. She turned on me on a dime. And I truly believe that God allows this because he knows that you're grieving because they're going to go to college or whatever they're going to do. And he makes them just as mean as he can so that you can let them go. The very breath that I breathed out of my nostrils made her so angry. We were not allowed to eat cereal in our own home because she couldn't stand to hear us chew it. And I don't mean to talk about her because she had a lot on her. She had to empty the dishwasher. That was a lot. She's always had a bunch of boys after because she's a doll, and they always wanted to date her and always came around our house. And there was one, and he was a player. He was a schmoozer. And he would say stuff to me. He'd go, "Miss Morgan, you look beautiful today." And I'd be like, "Oh my gosh, can I make you a casserole?" And thank goodness they broke up because I was exhausted. I was mopping the floor, blowing my hair out every day. And I thought, why did that affect me that way? Why did I? And I thought, oh, I know. It's because my love language is words of affirmation. And I don't get them. So I got hoodooed by this boy. My husband and I read that book and went to a Sunday school retreat years ago. And it was the 5 love languages. Have y'all read that? I know, it's good, and it works. It really does. But you read the book and you take the test, and you and your husband, example, you and your husband will take the test. And it'll tell you, there's 5 prominent love languages. It'll tell you what your husband's prominent love language is. He'll find out what yours is. So at night, y'all can sit on the couch and feed each other y'all's love language. And then your love tank feels full. If you don't, your husband's liable to go to work and is standing by the water fountain, and some whore comes in and feeds him his love language, and then he feels a tingle, and then Satan swoops in. I know. Terrible. So here's the 5 love languages, if y'all don't know. There's quality time. So there's people that just want you to sit with them and watch a television show or something like that. Then there's gifts. That's my sister's. It does not have to be something that's expensive. If you give her a rose and a card, she'll bawl her eyes out because her love tank feels full. I know. And her husband doesn't do it. Okay. All right, and then there's physical touch. And so many women, when I say that, they'll go, "Oh, yeah, that's my husband's. He's on me like a duck on a June bug." But we're not talking about the nasty kind. We're talking about, people that just want to squeeze and hug and hold on to you. That's their love language, is physical touch. And then there's words of affirmation, so that's mine. So all my husband has to say is, "Leanne, you look pretty today," or "Leanne, that Trisha Yearwood's chicken piccata is to die for." And then my love tank feels full. And then I'm willing to do something vulgar with him. And then he gives me money to get my hair highlighted. That's how it works. That's biblical. Okay, y'all. My baby, my middle one, the whole time she was in high school, so ashamed of me and so embarrassed by me, but loves me more than anybody. Now we're best friends, but I'm telling y'all, everything I did made her so mad. And I remember showing up at middle school in a pair of yoga pants. She goes, "What are you doing here?" I thought I looked so cute. But anyway, she had a bunch of little girls always spending the night, and she had this little girl spend the night, and the little girl stayed a couple of nights, so I did her laundry, and all I said, this little girl was, "Katie, you're so tiny. Your little underwear looks like a slingshot." And that little girl thought it was funny. And my baby looked at me and went. So I got out of there, and when that little girl left, I came back in. I said, "What's wrong with me saying that her little panties look like a slingshot? I wish somebody'd say my panties look like a slingshot." "Nick, my panties look like a catapult." Did you ever watch Braveheart and Mel Gibson? You know, boys, y'all ever watch that? You know, when they pull that big thing back, put a ball in it, and fling it, and kill a bunch of people with it? That's what my panties look like. I buy Soma now. Soma, big old panties, honey. The bigger the better. I used to wear Victoria's Secret when I still had hope. And then I found out, y'all know who owns Victoria's Secret? Satan. And, no, he doesn't. I had to stop wearing them because they were cutting me in two. But, Lord, they're probably about to go out of business. But anyway, everybody is. But I love a big panty. Okay. My baby child is 22 now. She lives in New York and goes to school up there. And we miss her. And she's been a doll baby. And her daddy and I, we begged her to go to Phoenix Online. And she was like, "Get out of my butthole." So y'all just stare at me. And she smells good. But anyway, my husband is 6'4", 230 pounds, 250 if he's eating white flour and sugar. He plays a lot of tennis. And it got on my nerves so bad because I had no estrogen, no progesterone, no testosterone. And I was crazy. Okay, his testosterone dipped a little. Praise God. And then it went back up when he started playing tennis again. And that makes it naturally go up. It made me so mad. Anyway, my husband's athletic and played football and basketball. I played basketball. I know y'all thinking, "You sissy thing, you did not." But I did. It was the early 80s. I had really big hair. I'm from a town of 500 people in Middle Tennessee, and we grow dark-fired tobacco. And we didn't know what waterproof mascara was. So by the end of the games, I looked like, say, if Tammy Wynette and Alice Cooper had a child together. I played forward. Sometimes I had to play center if Mary Rowland had to take her baby to the health department. But anyway, so we wanted these children to be in sports, you know, keep them off of dope. And my baby child, all my children are tall kids because I'm 5'8", and I think I'm getting bigger by the day. I think my feet are spreading. I think my hands are big. I see my hands in a video. I take pictures, and all these little women come up to here on me. I look like... Okay. Well, my baby child grew really quick, really fast, and was 5'6" in elementary school. And I think it was my fault. I think it was all that chicken. I think if anybody's in here my age, we didn't know about hormone-free back then. No, I know. All that milk, it had stuff in it. Lord, I've raised her on a bunch of chicken and milk. Anyway, I would not do that to a grandbaby now. Okay, so So she was very tall, very self-conscious, and she was taller than all the teachers, the principal, all the little children. Good news is very athletic and very strong. So all these teams around East Tennessee would call me, and they'd say, can she play goalkeeper for our team? We'll get her an iPhone. Can she play basketball for us? She never played basketball. And y'all, it tickled me. And I felt like LeBron James's mama. And I made her do it. And she came to me one day and she goes, I'm sick of all this. I'm not going to play all this for y'all. She goes, I want to cheer. I said, well, baby, we're big people. And we don't tumble. Let me see what I can find out. There's a thing in the United States called competition cheer. And I bet it's big in Florida. Yeah. If you don't know what it is, it's kind of like Honey Boo Boo meets stripping meets the Olympics. Because they're gymnasts is what they are. They're very talented gymnasts. So there's one in Knoxville called Premier Sharks. And I dropped her off to audition or try out, whatever you want to call it. We didn't know anything about it. And this little woman, they ended up putting her on a bad Mamma Jamma squad because all the little children her age came up to hear on her. And somebody's got to throw them up in the air. So they were thrilled to have her. She's strong as a mule. So they said it's $150 a month for her to come in and take 2 nights a week to learn a 2.5-minute routine. I was like, okay. And they said, there's a uniform that we're going to order for her. And it sequins up the sleeve, comes to right here, exposes her little tummy. She's going to have on a tiny little skirt with a slit in it with a glitter panty underneath it. And I said, that's a whore outfit. And it came with its own bag of whore makeup. And the woman said, y'all are going to travel to faraway lands and compete against other little whore children. Places like Atlanta and Cincinnati. So we get in the car and drive all night, get a hotel room, and then the next morning go to a coliseum with tens of thousands of little whore children walking around. And they said it's $150 to enter your baby in this competition. It's $30 for you and your husband to wear a band to get in and watch her in this competition. Somebody was selling corn dogs for $15. Anyway, they start out with the babies, and the babies are yummy, and they're 5, and you could eat their lips on. And they got on a skirt about this big, and their little mamas are probably in their late 20s, early 30s, you know, and they're not bitter yet. And so the little girls come out to Beyonce's All the Single Ladies. And their little mamas are in the front doing every move, trying to keep them on track because they're babies and they need to be at home breastfeeding. So they go up in age throughout the day and they call my baby's group and they go, Reef Sharks. For 2.5 minutes, my baby throws little children up in the air, working like a Trojan, broken out in a sweat. And the whole time she's throwing these little children up, and they're called flyers. And they are freakish, tiny little children. And their mamas are freaky, tiny little women. And I think, how do they even have these little babies? I'm from farming people. I've got thick ankles. I can work in the fields. I don't know who these people are. Anyway, these little flyers, she's throwing them up in the air, and the whole time during this 2.5 minutes, they're going. And nobody knows why. And that goes on, and then it's the finale. And 25, 30 little girls put their forehead on the ground and hunker down. And the finale is my baby My baby hops up and has got a little girl's foot in her hand. Are y'all listening to me over there? When's the last time y'all put somebody's... The gay boys went nuts. It was a big deal, okay? So then they were like, oh, she's got to do it again. We got to have her next, because she didn't drop anybody and give anybody concussion. Those mamas had me on speed dial. They loved her. But she was like, you know what? I've got spirit. I know I do. But she said, I'm tired of this. I got it out of my system. She said, I'm not going to do it anymore, but I'm keeping that whore outfit.